Tansi, edlanat'e, and good afternoon. I'm Michelle LeClair. I am the Vice President and Minister of Justice for the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan. And I'm honored to be here today to talk to you about Bill C-53. As a Métis leader, I know I am indebted to leaders that have come before me, and some of you know them. The late Jim Sinclair and the late Harry Daniels, among many others. Some of my earliest memories are of those leaders fighting for the recognition of our rights. 41 years ago, Section 35 included Métis, First Nations, and Inuit people. And one of those people that fought for those rights was Harry Daniels. They fought for the rights, for the right of recognition of our rights, our right to self-determination, our right to self-government, our right to raise our children, and our right to thrive as a nation, Métis Nation-Saskatchewan. Generation after generation, our leaders have sacrificed everything to get to this point, and our government will work tirelessly to see this through. Our Section 35 rights must be honored and recognized. As representatives of Canada around the table, you don't grant us those rights. These rights are inherent rights, and they're given to us by the Creator and by those ancestors who fought, and many died, to ensure that we had those rights. And it's the duty of the Crown to recognize and uphold them. For more than 150 years of colonialism and oppression, our communities were divided and scattered, and still our people remained strong and united. This is what many fail to grasp about Bill C-53. The Métis, of course, according to the Canadian Constitution under Section 35, are one of the Indigenous peoples. These three peoples have rights, and they always have. There is no hierarchy in rights under Section 35. And at rights and people, there's no hierarchies. You've got the First Nations, the Métis, and Inuit. We are all equal under the law. And Canada must recognize our rights and negotiate with each of us in good faith. This is your duty. Mine is to sit here and remind you of your duty. I also want to remind you that Section 35 is a full box of rights, and that it isn't up to other people to determine what those rights are. You don't get to pick our rights or choose rights that we get or other Aboriginal peoples get. These are inherent rights, and we all get the same recognition. We are all on the same footing. Legitimate rights holders should not be pitted up against one another. We would not tolerate it if it was attempted to do this with our First Nations and Inuit relations. All of you who represent Canada are bound to the honor of the Crown. It's your responsibility to build bridges, create opportunities for everyone to thrive, not to divide and conquer. To that end, we know First Nations in Ontario have voiced opposition to this legislation, and we acknowledge this. The MNS has consistently advocated for a process to defend the integrity of our nations. We have championed and advanced to all Métis Nation governments an independent panel that will look at the root issue. This expert panel is our way, the Métis way, to address this in a responsible, transparent, and objective way. And I'm confident that the expert panel will shed some light on the concerns that Ontario First Nations have. And I'm hoping that the Chiefs of Ontario will attend and become part of that process and express their concerns at that panel. I also encourage Ontario First Nations to raise these issues with Canada during the treaty consultation process. All three treaties, MNA, MNO, MNS, will be negotiated independently. And it's there, through that process, that duty to consult will be triggered. And MNS is committed to ensuring all impacted parties are consulted. When we're negotiating our treaty, we assume that MNO and MNA will do the same. The treaty process is Canada's venue to hear these concerns. Ours is in our expert panel, and I encourage Ontario First Nations to utilize both fully. But the venue for these concerns is not here, not regarding Bill C-53. Our legislation doesn't trigger the duty to consult. It lays the path to treaty making and for Canada to finally recognize what we have always known. We have and will never stop defending our rights generation after generation. In this moment, I feel within me all the lessons that I've learned and every blood memory passed down to me from each of those leaders that I talked about earlier. And they prepared us for this moment. And I promise them and our people that I will never stop until our rights are recognized. Bill C-53 is your chance to build a lasting relationship, nation-to-nation relationship with Métis Nation-Saskatchewan. We're ready for this. The question is, are you?